Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. How many of you have Srimad Bhagavatam? Oh, so many of you don't have Srimad. How many of you don't have Srimad Bhagavatam? Maybe some who did not raise their hands have digital Bhagavatam maybe. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a beautiful literature. It's considered the topmost essence of all Vedic literatures. And when you consider essence of all literatures, it's the essence of all knowledge that exists in the universe. And the essence of all spiritual knowledge is Srimad Bhagavatam. And there are 12 cantos, so approximately this size. And this is the 7th canto. And one whole canto has been dedicated for this pastime of Prahlad and Nrsimhadev. You see the picture here? So you'll know some details from Balgopal Prabhu on Thursday. But we'll try to introduce the main character is Prahlad Maharaj today. So in many ways, for many practicing devotees, or for all practicing devotees, Prahlad Maharaj is a very shining example. And is also a very important example. He's a very important example because he symbolizes pure devotional service. So all of those who want to understand devotion, devotional service, how to perfect devotional service, what is devotional service, it's very important to read his life and teachings. And this whole canto is dedicated, which ends with his beautiful prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev. And the chapter itself, the canto itself starts with a question and answer: how Supreme God is neutral. Is Supreme God neutral or not? So we won't get into that because it's a whole different topic. But Prahlad Maharaj is the son of a big king at the time. He was Asura. In Sanskrit there is a word called Asura, and there is also a word called Sura. Sura means godly qualities, one who has godly qualities. And Asura means one who has ungodly qualities. So, what is the nature of ungodly qualities? Somehow give trouble to oneself and others, and meet one's own selfish pursuits at any cost. And Hiranyakashipu was an extreme example of that. So ungodly qualities. And Prahlad Maharaj, his very son, he was personification of godly qualities. So there's a beautiful verse Srila Prabhupada quotes, is one who is a devotee, Vishnu Bhakta, has godly qualities. And one who does not, who does not worship God, or who does not devote one's mind and consciousness towards God, is affected by this ungodly nature. So Hiranyakashipu was so affected by his ungodly nature that he thought his son had a problem. So sometimes in life it's like that, right? When we think it's what is our problem, we think there's someone else's problem. The reason there's a problem is because of you. It's not me. So this pastime is very much instructive in many levels that we can reflect. So today we are going to focus on a specific instruction of Prahlad Maharaj, which is one of my favorite too, and Prabhupada speaks at length too. And it's also one of the attributes of a spiritual soul. As we are all spirit souls, we have eternal identity. And one of the ornaments of that identity is we have certain qualities. We're not impersonal. We have certain qualities. Somehow, some of those reflect in us, in a dim way. But when the pure spirit identity is revealed, all these qualities, which are ornaments of the soul, reflect fully. So the beautiful existence of our identity is revealed. So Prahlad Maharaj is, in philosophy in life, Prahlad Maharaj was taught that, or in general, philosophy means, when we study philosophy, there are different branches of it. Like there is metaphysics to it, there is ethics, and there is also epistemology, try to understand how to gather knowledge, what is knowledge. So according to how we gather all these things, we have a way of seeing life and develop accordingly the values associated with that. Sometimes we use the word, we philosophize, philosophy is a way of life. So it's not like a theology, it's more than theology, it's way of life. So how we see things. So everybody has a philosophy. People who don't believe in religion also have their own philosophy, but it's coming out of their own ideas. So Hiranyakashipu, his father, had a philosophy too. And his philosophy is, everything is meant for my enjoyment. And anything or anyone who obstructs that enjoyment is my enemy. Anyone or anything, mostly anyone who helps me to achieve that enjoyment, my own gratification, is my friend. He didn't have many friends, just to let you know, because his desires were very extreme. So it is described in Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto that because of his intense austerity and powers and the authority he gained, he could control many things, which we probably cannot even understand how we can. So he could control many material phenomena, material things, what to speak of people. But he could not convince his own son. So he was very frustrated. And he said, this boy is spoiled by false intelligence. And what is that false intelligence? He does not consider my enemy as his enemy. So that was his problem. And Prahlad Maharaj is a saintly devotee, and he heard the knowledge, we call it spiritual knowledge, right? And his spiritual intelligence was awakened, and he realized, I don't have any problem with this politics and all these things you're teaching me, my teachers, who were instructed by Hiranyakashipu to teach to Prahlad. But I have one problem. We don't have to make friends and enemies. And in many levels, this is applicable to us too. Because in life, we have somewhat similar idea. Someone who is good to us or good to our mind is our friend. And someone who does something which we don't like, immediately our mind will label him enemy. friend, enemy. But this also toggles according to what things change, right? If suddenly that person changes his behavior towards us from friendly to somewhat not friendly, immediately our mind rejects. Oh, he doesn't, I hate him, he hates me. So this is the nature of the mind, it always toggles. So many people in this world, you notice people are born in the same family, they're brothers, sisters, maybe mostly with brothers or friends, that they immediately become enemies after some time. So this is the phenomenon of this world. Anybody in this conditioned world is affected by this. That is because of material intelligence. So we'll touch on this topic of intelligence. Usually when we say intelligence, we think how good I can process things, how good I can work at a certain thing, how smart I am, right? How many degrees I have, how much education I did receive. So these are all like qualifications of so-called material intelligence. But we can see many people who have achieved all of this or some of this are probably most miserable and have sometimes the same problem. So what is real education? It's education, Srila Prabhupada said, one time he went to MIT, right? He said, in MIT, the education about Almighty is missing. So he went to MIT, but there's no department which teaches about science of soul, who is God, how to connect. And Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita says this is knowledge, this is education. The beginning of education is to understand who I am, right? And this education, when one lacks, then all one perceives is through one's own filtered idea of intelligence. So education in real form should help us to see things as they are. So there's a beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter. It says, the word used in learned person in Vedic terminology is Pandit. It says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmane Gavihastini, Suni Chaiva Swapakecha, Pandita Samadarshina. So this is the quality Krishna says. This is the example, or this is the quality of a learned person. So if you want to go and find out who is the learned person, this one characteristic will define whether this person is learned or not. So first quality is Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. He does not get this by acquiring through one's own intelligence ability. What is the first quality is Vinaya, humility. And through that he achieves this spiritual intelligence which facilitates this knowledge within him. And he can see the presence of the divine in every single species. Pandita Samadarshana. He sees everything on an equal platform. So this is the education Srila Prahlad Maharaj had. So he said, I can't relate with this friend and enemy. I can see this presence of the Supreme Soul in everyone's heart. So why should I consider one person as my enemy, another person as my friend? Doesn't make any sense. And his teachers were like, who polluted you with this intelligence? Please tell us. We won't share with your father yet. Please tell us. And Prahlad Maharaj was bewildered, and he speaks this verse, beautiful verse. It's in the 7th canto, chapter 9, also chapter 5, text number 11. It says, Prahlad Maharaj replied, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose external energy has created the distinctions of my friend and my enemy by deluding the intelligence of men. Indeed, I am now actually experiencing this, although I have previously heard of it from authoritative sources. So he's saying this is the potency of the deluding, potency of the Lord, external energy. We are all in that. external energy. This world is predominated by that. It's full of that. And what is the symptom? One cannot see. When one forgets the essence, then one becomes ignorant. And what is that essence? Is Krishna is in the heart of every single being. And how does that begin? One has to first find the presence of the Lord within one's own heart. So till we don't find that, we actually have not even connected with our own selves. So Prabhupada says, like somebody leaves the body and some person may say, the person has left. And the child may say, no, he's still there. No, he has left. No, he's still there. So who has left? And did we actually meet that person who has actually left? So sometimes we think, I know myself. Or, you don't have to tell me. Or something like, when scripture speaks, we think, I think I know it. But actually we don't know. So the one who reveals such knowledge is a guru. And Srila Prabhupada and all these acharyas, they reveal this knowledge. They open the eyes. Who am I? And through Prahlad Maharaj, the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj, we can learn that yes, it's actually this distinctions I'm having is due to my own polluted intelligence. And today that is the cause of so much problems in this world. Whether it's a workplace, whether it's in life, family, world, nation, people are fighting this. This is mine, you're my friend, you're my enemy. You're my friend, you're my enemy. And Srila Prabhupada said this is dog civilization, animal civilization. Because typically when an animal enters into other animals' territory, what does the animal do? First bark. This is my territory. This draws the territory, right? So yeah, sometimes we may say we need countries and all that, but in the essence, we have to see, the important thing is we have to see the reality is bigger than what we perceive. So Prahlad Maharaj's teachings is reflecting that idea is, yes, it's very important to see this. Otherwise, one will be in this constant anxiety of, who's my friend? Who's my enemy? I don't have any friends. Oh, everybody's my enemy. And one may mistaken life and miss the opportunity. And this is the source of so much anxiety in this world. It's the source of so much distraction. Whereas this world could be one united place in purpose. So, Prahlad Maharaj gives an answer to that too. How do we achieve this? And he says, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with the living entity because of his devotional service, one becomes a Pandita and does not make distinction between enemies, friend, and himself. Intelligently he then thinks, quote, every one of us is an eternal servant of God, and therefore we are not different from one another, unquote. So this is the platform where Krishna sees. This is the platform where saintly people see. So we have to introspect. There's so much we can work on. This principle is, how do I see life, everyday life? If something goes favorable, do I say this is the best, this person is the best? Or do I see subjectively or objectively? So Krishna consciousness is seeing things objectively from the spiritual observer point of view, from Krishna's point of view, not from what is my point of view. And this is where Hiranyakashipu, he could not see, because the more he saw from his point of view, Krishna disappeared in the heart for him. He was convinced. He said to Prahlad Maharaj, is Krishna, where is Krishna? Where is he hiding? Bring him out here. Oh, he's going to come if I harm these people. I will harm his devotees. I will harm cows. I will harm you, because I know he likes you. But actually, he was right in Hiranyakashipu's heart too. So the more we get distracted with this idea of duality around us, the more Krishna becomes enigmatic person. We can't even see, is Krishna there? But Krishna says, I am everywhere. I am the background of everything. I am the taste in the water. So we have that opportunity. We fast on festival occasions. So when you fast, you really become thirsty, you drink water. What do you feel? Wow, that water is the best. That is Krishna. So when we have opportunity to experience like that. Krishna is the background of everything. And Hiranyakashipu, because of his extreme selfish nature driven through this duality of friends and enemies, he could not perceive it. And for Prahlad Maharaj, it was daylight. Yeah, Krishna is. The energy I have is the same energy within you that Krishna gives to you too. The power I have is from Krishna. The power you have is also from Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada used to jokingly say that, not jokingly, seriously, but there are devotees of God that Krishna speaks through, right? He gives intelligence. And how do atheists get intelligence to deny God? That also Krishna gives. Because he's present in the heart, the atheist is thinking all day, meditating, how can I disprove the existence of God? How should I write a paper? And suddenly he gets an idea. Oh, yes, I finally got an idea. And it's Krishna. Why? Because he's reciprocating with our desire. That's what we want to forget. I will give you intelligence to forget me. So they come up with so amazing theories. It's like, wow, this is amazing that I can forget easily. But the same, for a devotee, he's able to see Krishna. So in our life, that is the direction we want to go, is we want to purify our heart. And when we purify our heart, we can see clearly that, yes, Krishna is in my heart. Then what to speak of connecting with ourselves, we can even connect with others more than they have actually connected with themselves. I heard this recently. I thought, wow. You think like, oh, not that we don't say that, I know you better than me, or better than you yourself. But it's actually true. This is the whole idea of spiritual life is Paramatma, Super Soul is guiding. We do Sankirtan, right? We give the books to someone, and that person may have no idea, today I'm going to get a book. Today I want a book. He's not thinking that. He's going to a mall to buy something. But suddenly, it's someone like Mother Deidre, and they're standing and giving a book, and suddenly they feel inspired to take that book. Why? Because it's the desire of the devotee. And Krishna in the heart reciprocates, okay. And according to their desire, their purity, their sincerity, Krishna facilitates that. So this is a very active interaction goes on in this world. And we can see nothing is coincidence. Everything is arranged in the life of a devotee. So in what to speak of seeing, when we see that Lord in everyone, what to speak of just acknowledging it, the biggest help we can do to ourselves is we become liberated from our own ideas that we, so many ideas that our mind creates. One of them is, I am suffering because of this person. And Prahlad Maharaj, interestingly, if you read the whole 7th canto, he never once says, I blame Hiranyakashipu, my father, for my suffering. And he was tortured like anybody you can think about. But he never once blamed his father. It's a very exalted stage. Bhagavad Gita chapter 12 talks about is considering enemies as our friends. And he could see in that platform, but for us, even 1% of that practice can relieve so much anxiety in our brain. This person, this situation, that people are the reason for my suffering. So Prahlad Maharaj says that intelligence is, when one has that intelligence, he uses a word, very humbling word. When I read that, I thought, oh wow. It says, Pashu Buddhir. This is animal intelligence. And then there is a beautiful section in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam of talking about Gajendra, who was an animal. He was an elephant. And he was going through, he's called Gajendra, means he was the king of the elephants, right? So he was enjoying life, and he happened to enter this lake and got attacked by a crocodile. And then he also prays to Krishna. He struggled to get relief from the crocodile, but he could not. He was suffering. And through that suffering, he was going deep in this contemplation. What is this? Why? I am supposed to be the powerful personality, and all these friends I had, they could not help me. So who can help me? Then he stopped blaming the crocodile. He said, he uses a beautiful prayer. He says, Madhur prapanna pashupasha vimokshana. He says, I'm an animal and I've been entangled. But you are the one who can deliver me. He didn't know who that was. He didn't know the name Krishna like we did. He knows the one in the heart. But I am surrendered to the Lord. And what is your qualification? You are muktaya. And one quality is you yourself are liberated. So then you can help me. Because nobody else around me seems to be liberated. They're thinking they're liberated, but nobody is. So nobody can really help me. Only you can help me, because you are always liberated. And what is the other attribute you have? Muktaya bhuri karunaya. You are most merciful. So this is the aspect of the Lord which attracts our qualities. Actually, Prabhupada calls in the purport incessantly merciful. So he's the most merciful in the sense, oh, you have ignored me for 10,000 lives, so I'm not going to care about you. Right? If you text 20 times some person and doesn't respond, or like, oh, I don't want to text because he's ignoring me. But Krishna is not like that. Even if you ignored my good counsel, my mercy, I will still keep on giving, because I am your ever well-wisher. Bhuri karunaya. And namo lalaya. There is one more word. It says, and I'm never inattentive. Just because you think I have not ignored, you may think, well, he's not that attentive to me. No. Prabhupada says, even before we offer prayers to Krishna, Krishna does not need our prayers to please him. We think, I need to pray to Krishna so that he will become merciful to me. That's not how Krishna acts. Krishna is ever merciful, whether we pray or not. So he's never inattentive about that. And so, Muktaya bhuri kamuraya karunaya namo lalaya swamsena sarva tanubrin manasi pratita pratyakdashe bhagavate brihate namaste. You are Supreme Lord, brihate Bhagavan. And the same aspect of you is in my heart, and I can also see the same aspect is in this crocodile who is trying to kill me. Please remove my ignorance, thinking this is my enemy. He's not my enemy. My real enemy is my understanding of this idea that I am the enjoyer, independent enjoyer. So please remove that ignorance. And immediately Krishna appeared. All the demigods were thinking, who is he praying to? Is he praying to me? Maybe, no, he may be praying to Indra. Maybe it's Brahma. And when he said it's in the Lord in the heart, Krishna did not wait a second. He was waiting for it. And it is described that he just rushed to the scene on his Garuda. And immediately he liberated the crocodile and he liberated Gajendra. So that's what, actually Prahlad Maharaj quotes in one of his prayers, that how do we know we satisfied you, Krishna? We cannot satisfy you by giving big things. Manye danabi janarupa tapashrutaujas. I cannot do great austerities and please you. It's not possible, because all these Brahma and other demigods, they are much better than me. Janarupa tapashrutaujas. I can read volumes and volumes. That may not satisfy you. That will not satisfy you. I can do great yoga, yogic postures and control all this. Doesn't please you. I can show greatest intelligence by studying scriptures, learning Sanskrit, quoting so many things. Doesn't please you. Teja, by my power, Prabhava, influence, bala, strength, paurusha, all my vigor, buddhi yoga, naradhanaya hi bhavanti parasyapum. So there is no way you can be satisfied with these things because he possesses to the unlimited degree. How can he get attracted to that? So what can he get attracted? Bhaktya tutosha bhagavan. If you offer something with love, if you chant my name with love, if you have some feeling towards me, immediately Krishna is satisfied. And what is the proof of this? Prahlad Maharaj says, Gajayutapaya. He quotes, Gajendra did that, so I am convinced, even though I am not that great, even I am not like this all godly personalities like Brahma, Shiva, Rudra, Indra, Lakshmi. And he says, I have a greatest hope that you'll accept me because through Narada Muni I have some devotion. So this is our prayer to Krishna. Is we can go over this, as Srila Prabhupada is saying, we can raise ourselves from this duality, friend and enemy, not by, Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita, it's not a material adjustment. I'm going to decide tomorrow morning, I will be equal with everyone. And the next moment something happens, hey, how come you do this to me? You're the enemy number one. No, that's not possible for material adjustment. It's possible through changing consciousness. And that comes through devotional service. And bhakti comes from a devotee. When we follow the guidance of spiritual master and Vaishnavas, then we get the power to perform devotional service. That's what Prahlad Maharaj says, Bhakta tutosha bhagavan. By simple bhakti, one does not have to do great yoga postures, or one does not have to sit around a fire for 2 months, or go in the water. These are immaterial. You can be a 5-year-old boy, Prahlad Maharaj says, right? He's an example for that. And just by simply chanting and making Krishna one's object of love, Krishna is immediately purchased with that love. And when Krishna enters in our heart, when we connect with the super soul, we connect with every Krishna's presence in everybody's heart. So in this way, we become freed from all these ideas and misconceptions that the mind has created for lifetimes. There is a struggle for that. Of course, it doesn't happen overnight, but our sincerity in that is our putting efforts towards that direction is the way to get that mercy. Krishna gives that immediately. Just like he gave mercy, he delivered Gajendra, but for us, he may not come with the chakra, he will give it intelligence. Chakra, Sudarshana, represents intelligence. So Sudarshana is the light. Sudarshanam Mahajvalam Koti Surya Samaprabham. It is described, it is 10,000 suns. Koti. What is 10,000? More than that. 100,000 suns. And anything with like 100,000 suns illuminates everything. No darkness is on. So all ignorance in our heart is illuminated through that intelligence. And then at that point, a human can have animal intelligence, an animal can have spiritual intelligence. So Gajendra was not an animal at that time, he was Vaishnava. Vaishnava means devotee of the Lord. So all external things disappear. The spiritual intelligence reveals the content of the heart. So Srila Prabhupada was very convinced of this philosophy, and he said, this knowledge doesn't belong to India, this knowledge does not belong to a certain part of the world. It is universal because it is spiritual intelligence. And at that point, it does not matter, you're an animal, you're a human being. Everybody can get transformed into a Vaishnava, means a pure devotee of the Lord. Whereas, we can have greatest education and one can have the intelligence like an animal, because it's nothing more than seeing friend and enemy. So this is opportunity that Srimad Bhagavatam gives, that yes, we don't have to bind ourselves in this material intelligence. We can raise ourselves, and at that point there is no distinction between even an animal. So that's the verse says, Pandita Samadarshana is, he can even see the presence of the spirit soul in the animal's body. And he will even pay obeisances, respects to an animal who is engaging in the service of the Lord. There's no distinction. So we can pray and pray to Krishna through chanting and taking advantage of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting the holy names. And these are all the steps in association of devotees. These help to develop that spiritual intelligence in us. Because Krishna says in 10th chapter that I give that intelligence. If you engage in love and devotion, you engage in service to me, I give that intelligence. I will give that intelligence, and that intelligence will help us see through. And this world needs that more than anything. We need that more than anything. So in every aspect of life, we will see a change. And Prabhupada, I'll end with this. Prabhupada said, this most difficult situation in life of Prahlad Maharaj he was able to resolve this biggest conflict in his life because of this. So any aspect of our life which can overwhelm us can be removed with that Sudarshan spiritual intelligence. Then we can awaken and see everything. So that should be our goal and aspiration. So we'll end there. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.